Before her execution, Elena Carter made a request that stunned the entire prison. It wasn't a phone call. It wasn't a priest. It wasn't a plea for mercy. She looked at the warden and said calmly, "Before I die, I want to see Thor, my German shepherd. That's my only wish." The room fell silent. Death row was always cold, but that morning it felt frozen for another reason. Everyone knew what day it was. Elena sat on the edge of her metal cot, hands folded, posture steady. 7 years on death row had taught her one thing: panic only made things worse. 7 years of appeals denied. 7 years labeled a murderer. Thor wasn't just a dog. Before the arrest, before the trial, before the world decided who she was, Thor had been her partner, a trained search and rescue German shepherd. He had worked disaster zones with her, slept at her feet, trusted her with his life. The night she was arrested, Thor was taken away without explanation. She never saw him again, until now. Animals were not allowed in the facility, especially not on execution day. But Elena's prison record was spotless. No violence. No manipulation. And buried deep in her file was a note most people had ignored. Handler reports canine displays exceptional threat detection behavior. After a long pause, the warden finally said, 10 minutes. Yard only, full restraints. Elena closed her eyes. 10 minutes was enough. The yard gate creaked open. Elena stepped forward, cuffs loose on her wrists, heart pounding so loud she thought the guards could hear it. Then she saw him, Thor, older now, grayer around the muzzle. But unmistakably hers. His ears lifted, his body froze. Then he ran. Elena dropped to her knees just as Thor slammed into her, pressing his head under her chin, whining softly. For a moment there was no prison, no execution, no sentence. Just a woman and the one soul that had never doubted her. Then everything changed. Thor stopped, his body went rigid. Tail froze in mid-wag, ears snapped sideways. A low growl rose from deep in his chest. Elena felt it instantly. Thor wasn't looking at her anymore. He was staring past her, locked onto a man standing near the fence. Captain Harlan, the lead investigator from her case. "Control the dog," one guard muttered. Elena placed a calm hand on Thor's back. "Easy," she whispered, but Thor didn't relax. He stepped forward, placing himself between Elena and Harlan. The growl deepened, focused, certain. One guard frowned. "That doesn't sound aggressive," he said quietly. "That sounds like an alert." The warden leaned forward. "Elena, has Thor ever reacted like this before?" She swallowed. "Only once," she said. "During a rescue, when someone was lying." Harlan shifted his weight. Thor barked sharp and sudden. The yard froze. A younger officer spoke up, voice shaking. "Sir." Captain Harlan was never officially logged at the crime scene. Silence. "Bring me the case file," the warden ordered. What started as a delay became a review. What became a review became an investigation. Evidence was rechecked. Logs reopened. Fingerprints retested. They weren't Elena's. They were Harlan's. He had planted evidence. Altered reports. Closed the case fast before questions could be asked. By nightfall, the execution was suspended. By morning, Captain Harlan was under arrest. Weeks later, all charges against Elena Carter were dropped. The prison gates opened again. This time not to end a life, but to return one. Elena stepped into the sunlight. No cuffs, no guards. Thor waited just beyond the fence. She dropped to her knees, laughing and crying at the same time, burying her face in his fur. "You remembered," she whispered. Thor wagged his tail. He always had. Sometimes the truth doesn't come from paperwork or power. Sometimes it comes from a dog who refuses to forget what humans tried to bury.